The Galactic Council Chamber was a grandiose edifice, its vaulted ceilings and gleaming walls a testament to the Empire's vast resources and unyielding power. The chamber, filled with delegates from dozens of species, thrummed with a tense anticipation. Whispers and mutterings echoed through the hall as the doors slammed open, silencing the room instantly. Captain Liam Thorne, a rugged figure with piercing blue eyes and a determined set to his jaw, strode into the room. His presence was magnetic, drawing the attention of every alien delegate present. Behind him, his loyal crew followed, their expressions a mix of defiance and resolve. Submit to tyranny? Never! Liam's voice cut through the silence like a blade. The words hung in the air, met with gasps of shock and murmurs of disbelief. The Supreme Emperor, a towering figure shrouded in dark robes, rose from his throne at the head of the chamber. His eyes, cold and calculating, locked onto Liam. "Captain Thorne, your defiance will be your downfall." Liam's smirk was confident, almost daring. "We'll see about that." The tension in the room was palpable as Liam and his crew turned and made their way out, their footsteps echoing ominously. The chamber erupted into chaos as the doors closed behind them, the delegates' frantic discussions underscoring the gravity of what had just transpired. Aboard their ship, the Seraphim, the crew gathered on the bridge. The hum of the ship's engines and the soft beeping of consoles provided a backdrop to their urgent meeting. Jax, the tech genius with a mischievous glint in his eyes, leaned over a console, his fingers flying over the keys. "We hit them where it hurts," Jax said, excitement evident in his voice. "Strategic strikes, precision raids." Elena, the combat expert, nodded firmly. Her eyes, usually so calm, now burned with determination. "We show them we won't be crushed." Liam, standing at the helm, stared out into the vastness of space. His thoughts drifted briefly to his family, lost to the Empire's cruel policies. The memory fueled his resolve. "Let's give them a reason to fear us." The plan was simple yet audacious. Their first target was a small Imperial outpost, relatively unguarded but critical to the Empire's supply chain. As the Seraphim approached the outpost under the cover of darkness, the crew's nerves were taut, but their resolve was unwavering. The infiltration began smoothly. The crew moved like shadows, their steps silent and precise. Inside the control room, Jax disabled the security systems with practiced ease. "We're in. Disabling their defenses now." Elena and another crew member, a silent but lethal operative named Quinn, planted explosives in key locations. The tension was thick, each second stretching into an eternity. Suddenly, alarms blared, and the facility was flooded with light. "We've got company." "Move!" Elena's voice was sharp, cutting through the panic. A fierce firefight erupted as Imperial guards swarmed the facility. The crew fought back with a coordinated efficiency that spoke of countless drills and unwavering trust in one another. Blaster fire lit up the dim corridors, and the sounds of battle echoed through the outpost. "Fall back to the ship," Liam ordered, his voice carrying over the chaos. They retreated, covering each other as they made their way back to the Seraphim. The outpost exploded behind them as they took off, a brilliant fireball lighting up the night sky. Back on the bridge, the crew allowed themselves a brief moment of triumph. "We did it," Quinn said, a rare smile breaking his usually stoic demeanor. Liam nodded, but his expression remained serious. "This is just the beginning. We hit them harder next time." As the Seraphim sped away from the site of their victory, the crew's thoughts turned inward. Each had their reasons for fighting, personal stakes that made their defiance all the more fierce. Liam's resolve was born of loss and a burning desire for justice. Jax fought for the thrill and the belief in a freer future. Elena's determination stemmed from a vow to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. However, beneath the surface, a shadow loomed. Unbeknownst to Liam and the others, a traitor walked among them, feeding information to the Empire. This unseen threat would soon put their unity and trust to the ultimate test. Liam gathered his crew in the ship's mess hall, a rare moment of calm after the storm. "We need to stay sharp. The Empire won't take this lying down." "We're with you, Captain," Jax said, his voice firm. "Always," Elena added, her eyes meeting Liam's with unwavering resolve. The Seraphim glided through the void of space, its sleek hull blending with the inky blackness. Inside, Captain Liam Thorne's eyes were fixed on the glowing screen displaying their target, an Imperial outpost nestled on a barren asteroid. Approaching the drop zone, Jax murmured, his fingers dancing over the control panel. Initiating cloaking protocol. The ship shimmered and vanished from sight, an invisible predator. Elena checked her gear, her expression grim but focused. "Ready to make a statement?" she asked, her voice low and steady. Liam nodded, a fire burning in his eyes. "Let's give them something to remember." The airlock hissed open, and the crew descended into the cold embrace of the asteroid's surface. Their movements were swift and silent. The outpost loomed ahead, its harsh lights cutting through the darkness. Inside, the outpost was a maze of corridors and high-security doors. Liam led the way, his senses sharp, every step calculated. They reached the control room without incident. Jax got to work, hacking into the system. "Disable the defenses," Liam ordered, keeping watch. Jax nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Just a few more seconds, got it." "Defenses down." Liam's earpiece crackled to life. "We've got company," Elena's voice warned from down the hall. "Time to move," Liam said, motioning for the crew to split up and plant the explosives. The team dispersed, each member moving with practiced precision. Liam planted his charge in the armory, the countdown ticking ominously. He rejoined Jax, who had just finished setting his own device. "Next stop, the command center," Liam said. They navigated through the labyrinthine corridors, the tension palpable. Suddenly, alarms blared, and the outpost was bathed in red light. "Go, go," Liam urged, sprinting towards the exit. The crew burst out into the open, the harsh light of the outpost casting long shadows. Imperial soldiers poured out, weapons raised. A firefight erupted, lasers cutting through the air. Elena took down 2 soldiers with swift, precise shots. "We're pinned down." Liam ducked behind cover, returning fire. "Keep moving. We can't get trapped here." Jax fired off a few shots, then sprinted towards the ship. "The charges are set. We need to get clear." The crew fought their way to the Seraphim, every step a struggle against the relentless onslaught. They reached the ship just as the countdown reached 0. A massive explosion tore through the outpost, a fiery blossom in the cold void. Inside the Seraphim, the crew collapsed into their seats, breathless but victorious. Liam stood at the helm, watching the remnants of the outpost burn. "We did it," Jack said, his voice a mix of relief and exhaustion. Liam nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "This is just the beginning. We hit them harder next time." Elena, her face illuminated by the flickering lights of the control panel, leaned back in her chair. "We'll make them regret underestimating us." The sense of accomplishment was tempered by the knowledge of the battles yet to come. As the ship sped away, the crew began preparing for their next mission, their resolve steeled by the night's victory. Later, in the common area, the atmosphere was a mix of camaraderie and quiet reflection. Liam sat with Elena and Jax, discussing their next steps. "We need to keep the pressure on," Liam said, his tone serious. "The Empire will retaliate, and we need to be ready." Elena nodded. "We'll need to upgrade our defenses. They'll come at us with everything they've got." Jax, ever the optimist, grinned. "And we'll be ready. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve." Their conversation was interrupted by a subtle tension that had been growing among the crew. Whispers of a traitor began to circulate, suspicion lurking in every corner. Liam returned to the bridge, staring out at the stars. The thought of betrayal gnawed at him. Trust was the bedrock of their rebellion, and any crack in that foundation could spell disaster. A soft chime signaled an incoming message. Liam tapped a button, and the face of an old friend appeared on the screen. "Liam, it's good to see you," the friend said. "I've heard about your recent success. The Resistance is inspired by your actions." Liam nodded, the weight of leadership heavy on his shoulders. "We're doing what we can, but we've got a long road ahead." The friend's expression turned serious. "Be careful, Liam. The Empire is relentless. They won't stop until they've crushed every last bit of resistance." Liam's eyes hardened. Let them come. We'll be ready. As the message ended, Liam sat back, the resolve in his heart unyielding. The struggle had only just begun, but with his crew by his side, he knew they could face whatever the Empire threw at them. EXT. SPACENIGHT. The Seraphim sailed through the void, a small but fierce beacon of defiance against the vastness of the Empire. Inside, the crew prepared for the next mission, their spirits unbroken, their determination unwavering. Liam stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the horizon of stars. "We fight for freedom," he whispered to himself, "a promise and a vow. And we won't stop until it's won." The Seraphim's bridge hummed with quiet activity as Liam Thorne and his crew plotted their next strike. The tension from their recent escape hung heavy in the air. The room was filled with focused faces, each member aware of the escalating risks. Liam stood at the helm, a holographic display of the galaxy spread before him. "We need to hit the Imperial fuel depot next," he said, pointing to a flashing red dot. "It's critical to their supply chain. If we cripple it, we'll slow them down significantly." Jax, the tech genius, nodded. "Their security will be tighter. We need a flawless plan." Elena, ever the combat expert, crossed her arms. "And no margin for error. Last time was too close." Suspicion flickered in the eyes of the crew, each one silently questioning the loyalty of the person next to them. The betrayal that had led to their near capture was a wound that had yet to heal. Trust was now a scarce commodity aboard the Seraphim. As they approached the depot, the ship's stealth systems masked their presence. Liam watched the facility grow larger on the view screen, a complex web of pipelines and storage tanks, all heavily guarded. "Jax, can you disable their sensors?" Liam asked. Jax's fingers danced over his console. "Already working on it. Give me a few seconds." The seconds ticked by with agonizing slowness. Finally, Jax grinned. "Sensors are down. We're invisible." Liam's voice was calm but firm. "All right, team. We go in fast and quiet. Elena, take point." They moved with precision, slipping past guards and through maintenance tunnels. The facility was a labyrinth, but they navigated it with the ease of experienced infiltrators. Every step forward was a test of their nerves and skills. At the central control room, Jax began his work, hacking into the depot's mainframe. His hands flew across the keyboard, bypassing security protocols with practiced ease. "I need a few more minutes," he whispered. The air crackled with tension as they waited. Elena stood guard, eyes sharp and ready for any sign of trouble. Suddenly, a loud clatter echoed down the hall, sending everyone into high alert. Liam motioned for silence, his heart pounding. Footsteps approached, heavy and purposeful. Elena readied her weapon, her eyes narrowing. A squad of Imperial soldiers rounded the corner, their leader barking orders. "Secure the area. We've got an intruder alert." Liam cursed under his breath. "Jax, how much longer?" "Almost there." Jax's voice was strained, sweat beading on his forehead. The first shots rang out, bright flashes of energy lighting up the dark corridor. Elena moved with lethal efficiency, her shots precise and deadly. The crew fought back, their movements a dance of survival and desperation. In the midst of the firefight, a figure darted from the shadows, a crew member, once trusted, now revealed as the traitor. They lunged for Jax, a knife gleaming in their hand. Liam's eyes widened in shock. "Betrayal is a high price," the traitor hissed, their voice filled with venom. Jax barely dodged the attack, stumbling back. Elena reacted swiftly, subduing the traitor with a well-placed strike. "We trusted you," she spat. With the traitor restrained, Jax returned to his console, fingers flying faster than ever. "Got it. Charges are set. Let's move." They raced through the facility, alarms blaring in their wake. The sound of pursuing soldiers grew louder, each step echoing their urgency. The exit was in sight, but so were the reinforcements. Liam's mind raced, calculating their odds. "We need to split up. It's our only chance." Elena nodded, understanding immediately. "I'll cover the rear. Go." As they broke off, Elena held her ground, providing cover fire with unyielding determination. The rest of the crew sprinted towards the extraction point, hearts pounding with fear and resolve. The explosions rocked the facility, a series of thunderous blasts that shook the ground. Flames erupted, engulfing the depot in a hellish inferno. The Seraphim's engines roared to life, ready for their hasty retreat. They made it back to the ship, breathless and bruised but alive. The realization of the traitor's actions weighed heavily on them. Trust would take time to rebuild, but for now, survival was their priority. Liam stood on the bridge, watching the burning depot recede on the view screen. We've dealt a blow, but the fight is far from over. Jack slumped into his chair, exhaustion evident. At least we made it out. Thanks to you, Elena. Elena, ever stoic, simply nodded. We move forward. No looking back. Liam turned to his crew, a fierce resolve in his eyes. We've lost friends, faced betrayal, and nearly been captured. But we're still standing. And as long as we stand, we fight. The stars outside the Seraphim's viewport seemed oddly serene, a stark contrast to the turmoil within. Captain Liam Thorne stood at the helm, his gaze steely and unwavering. Around him, his crew bustled, each person engrossed in their tasks, unaware of the impending danger. Captain, incoming transmission from the Empire. Jax called from the communications console, his fingers flying over the controls. Patch it through, Liam replied, his voice steady despite the knot tightening in his stomach. The holographic projector flickered to life, revealing the menacing figure of Supreme Commander Voss, a high-ranking officer of the Galactic Empire. His eyes, cold and calculating, bore into Liam's with a chilling intensity. Captain Thorne, Voss began, his tone dripping with disdain. Your defiance ends now. Before Liam could respond, alarms blared. The Seraphim shuddered violently as enemy ships emerged from hyperspace, surrounding them in a deadly formation. We're under attack, Elena shouted, her combat instincts kicking in. They've got us outnumbered. Everyone to battle stations, Liam ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. The crew scrambled, each person moving with practiced efficiency. Laser fire erupted, the Seraphim's shields flaring as they absorbed the initial onslaught. The bridge was a whirlwind of activity, but amidst the frenzy, a creeping suspicion gnawed at Liam. Someone had betrayed them, but who? Jax, get those shields stabilized. Liam barked, his mind racing through their options. We've got a breach in engineering. A voice crackled over the intercom. We need help down here. Liam's eyes locked onto the engineer, Sarah, who looked back with a mix of determination and fear. Go, he said, nodding towards the exit. We need every hand we can get. As Sarah dashed out, Liam turned his focus back to the battle. The Seraphim weaved and dodged, returning fire with deadly precision, but it was clear they were outmatched. In the heat of the battle, the traitor made their move. The bridge lights flickered, systems began to fail, and panic spread like wildfire. Sabotage, Jax yelled, his eyes widening in realization. Someone's inside the system. Liam's heart pounded. He knew the traitor was among them, but time was running out. Find them, he commanded, his voice ice cold. Now. Jax's fingers flew over the controls, tracing the source of the sabotage. It's coming from the engine room, he exclaimed. Without hesitation, Liam bolted towards the engine room, his footsteps echoing through the corridors. The ship rocked under the relentless assault, but Liam pressed on, determination fueling his every step. Bursting into the engine room, he found Sarah frantically working to stabilize the breach. And there, amidst the chaos, stood the traitor Lucas, a technician Liam had trusted with his life. Why, Lucas? Liam demanded, his voice a mix of anger and betrayal. Lucas turned, guilt etched on his face. They threatened my family, Liam. I had no choice. Before Liam could respond, an explosion rocked the ship. Lucas staggered, his resolve crumbling. But I can make it right, he said, desperation in his eyes. I can help you escape. Liam's mind raced. Could he trust Lucas now? With a deep breath, he made his decision. Do it, he said, his voice firm. But know this, if you betray us again, there will be no second chances. Lucas nodded, quickly moving to undo his sabotage. As he worked, Liam assisted Sarah in stabilizing the engines. The ship shuddered, but the system slowly began to recover. Back on the bridge, the tide of the battle was turning. The crew, inspired by Liam's unwavering resolve, fought with renewed vigor. Elena's tactical commands cut through the noise, coordinating their defenses with lethal precision. "Liam, we've got an opening." Elena's voice crackled over the intercom. "But we need to act fast." "Punch it, Jax!" Liam shouted, racing back to the bridge. "Get us out of here." The Seraphim's engines roared to life, propelling them through the enemy blockade. Laser fire streaked past them, but the ship held together, powered by the crew's indomitable spirit. As they broke free from the Imperial trap, relief washed over the bridge. But Liam knew the fight was far from over. They had survived, but at a great cost. Trust had been shattered, and the road ahead was fraught with peril. Breathing heavily, Liam addressed his crew. "We faced betrayal and near destruction, but we're still standing. We've shown the Empire that humanity will not be crushed. We fight for freedom, for justice, and for those we've lost." A somber silence fell over the bridge as his words sank in. Each member of the crew knew the sacrifices they had made, the battle still to come. "Let's get to work," Liam said, a steely resolve in his voice. "We have a war to win."